go his way because I think that he's actually the strongest laner that WE have on their roster.
With that, we're coming down to the last ban for WE as they get into this, their second game against WE. Now, so far, they have played 15 games in the LPL and won 3 of them. That's a 20% win rate. They need points. They need these wins if they want to expect to compete in the latter half of the split, and if at all possible, make the playoffs. Now, Xiaohu's Azir being taken away, that's no surprise.
Just so many priority picks across the board, but unfortunately Xiaohu's showed that he doesn't need his Azir. He's a fantastic Azir player, but just as potent at that Orianna. And of course, the last man is going to be that Ryze.
Interesting that RNG leave Echo open once again. Could be trying to put WE in a bad situation by saying, look, Echo's open, but so is Sejuani, so is Gragas.
To be frank, I don't think that Echo was as big of a turning point for that game. I think it was mostly on the back of the Orianna and the Hecarim. That said, that's what their comp was really based around. We'll see if possibly WE have a little bit more impact or high impact with this champion, and it is insta-locked.
Oh, man. The bait, line, and sinker from RNG. They say, you know what? Echo's open, guys. You might be able to take a look at this flashy new champion, but so is Hecarim and Sivir.
And this pretty much underlines exactly what I was saying. I feel like that game was really decided on the back of Hecarim.
Yep.
And Hecarim, Sivir, the synergy is obvious there. Go fast, run fast, more damage.
Yeah.
And Let Me played fantastic on the champion. Of course, it is a different top laner. It is going to be Skye this time around. Now, the thing about Skye is he had a bit of a suspect champion pool last split. Some issues finding what was really working for him. See if Hecarim maybe changes. Yeah,
we'll definitely keep a track on Skye this time as Wushin on the more standard Sivir. Now WE look like they're going to put Spirit back on Fizz once again, or that could be Xie taking Fizz in the mid. There's a lot of flex available between those two champions, but Conan taking Nautilus away from Lei.
No surprise there. Nautilus picked up on second rotation since Alistar's banned. The question will be how Lei is going to answer that. It's actually a decent and big Janna player.
Ooh.
Not that I think that Janna into Nautilus is a good matchup, but I would love to see it, but it looks like it's going to be Thresh.
Yeah, so far it looks like RNG are running down the tier list. What's OP right now? Well, Hecarim, Sivir, Thresh, Gragas.
We call them power picks, sir.
Oh, yes, well. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Xiaohu's going to be taking in the mid once again, as it seems like RNG want him on a very high damage carry once again, saving that last pick. And yeah, there's the Gragas and Thresh for RNG. WE looking to respond with some damage of their own. They still need Mystic. They could go for either a Luca, Spirit, or Xie with some of those flex picks. And oh boy, if that's going to be an Ahri locked in, oh, that's interesting.
Xie falls back on old comfort picks, picks up his Ahri. It is his signature champion alongside his LeBlanc play, but the thing about it is he hasn't found a lot of success on it recently, and it kind of speaks to his diminishing, or not, I shouldn't say diminishing, but high impact champion pool as far as the meta is concerned. Not that Xie couldn't play Azir, couldn't play Cassiopeia, and obviously both of them are banned in this instance, but it feels like he will always go to Ahri versus one of the stronger meta pickups.
Yeah, and on the other side, Xiaohu opts in for Lulu, and that's going to round out the team comps for 2 of our teams. So far, it looks like Spirit is going to be taking Echo in the jungle, that we might see a last-second swap. And I'm pretty excited for this. There's a lot of damage for WE. I'm curious to see if Spirit is going to echo MLXG's build and go for a full tank sort of style, or if he's going to go for something a little bit different, maybe go for some damage.
There was a facial expression. We'll see if he finds the same success or if RNG are going to play consistently how they did last time and just deep ward on Spirit, deny any of his ganks. That said, Echo does have great reach and gank potential with his E. But here we go. We've got the lineups. It's Luca this time versus Skye in the top lane as Fizz is taking on Hecarim. Yeah,
and in the jungle, you're going to be seeing Spirit and MLXG once again. MLXG the primary shot caller and Spirit the same, as he also is the primary shot caller for his team. Who's going to be getting the bigger plays? And in the mid, Xie versus Xiaohu on Ahri and Lulu.
And Xiaohu taking kind of the counter pick there. I'm not going to call it a hard counter, but definitely a soft counter. So hard to assassinate that wild growth potential.
Yeah, Wushin opting for the Sivir, and that's going to be Mystic on Lucian. And lastly, Conan and Lei on those tanky utility supports. A lot of pick in there as well. Let's talk a little bit about the team comps, because I'm excited. As we're loading into the Rift, what are WE's goals with this sort of team comp? Triple AP.
Well, they do have a lot of pick potential as well as pick potential and
you know,
pick potential.
I wonder what they could be going for. Yeah, we're loading into the Rift right now. And we have loaded onto the Rift for game number 2 between World Elite and Royal Never Give Up. And we were talking a little bit about the team comps. Let's continue to hit on that. WE looking for picks, was it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So
not team fights, but picks.
I'm going to use this word loosely for Fizz and Echo, depending on their builds. They technically have 3 assassin-style champions or high burst champions that can get to the backline and delete someone from the map.
Sound kind of like National Geographic right there. It's like, oh yes, in their native environment. The 3 assassin composition from World Elite.
The triple assassin, where they're just like, everyone gets a power pick, everyone's free for all.
You get an assassin, you get an assassin, everyone gets assassins.
You all have mobility, you're all on your own. Everyone can get away. Look at how mobile they are. You got the troll pull, you got Echo's reset, as well as his gap closer. Ari has her spirit rush, the relentless pursuit. It's pretty much free for all, every man for themselves.
Yeah, kind of interesting to see that coming out of WE because it has been.
We did talk about, though, how I thought that a good strategy for WE, as I cut you off, I like touched his inner arm too. I was like, wait, honey. A good strategy for WE would be to just play really strong laners. And you have probably the strongest bot lane possible in Lucian and Nautilus and just try to win lane, win game, finding an advantage there because Spirit has effectively been stalled out with the deep vision from RNG. So I like the strategy.
Yeah. We'll definitely keep a track on whether or not Spirit is able to be successful with some of his roams this time, as there, once again, is a lot of potential. It's very likely we're going to see double Sightstone once again. Gragas very fond of that after getting the Cinder Hulk. Sky looking to start a camp. He actually helped out just a touch with that red buff and went for the Krugs as well. So interesting decisions as the distribution of gold and resources early on for RNG seemed to be looking to put Sky in a comfortable position before sending him against Aluka.
And like she either looking for the Scuttle Crab or looking for a very early gank on someone who is pushed rather close to his tower.
Very tricky. We'll see if Sky gets caught here. The flash comes out. Xie is caught. He flashes away. First blood on Xiaohu.
Beautifully executed right there. And I actually just made the statement that he was pushed into his tower, but as we got the observer onto that mid lane there, it was really...
Instantly walked away from it.
Yeah, it was beautifully timed because it was just as the minion wave was shifting forward. So excellent execution and setup from Xiaohu, and MLXG coming up big again on a level 2 gank.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of why we saw Sky helping him out just a bit to get through that red buff super fast and into the mid lane. And once again, MLXG, he's out for blood right now as he looks for a gank on the bottom. RNG have not given it away just yet. They've got a cannon minion there, but
he's looking for a lantern.
Now they decide to back away.
Never mind, he's only level 2.
Yeah.
Doesn't have it.
Not quite yet. Instead, he goes for the Scuttle, while Spirit opts for the red buff of his own. And interesting how these junglers are passing through their jungle at about the same time and throughout the same clear speed, but MLXG got a gank off.
Well, Spirit went back and he got wards.
He did.
Yeah. He's got a pink ward. He's like, you're not deep warding on me this time.
Keep vision of me, eh? We'll have to see how RNG respond if they go for similar plays or if they try to let their rather self-sufficient lanes just farm things out. Here's Spirit looking for a gank in the mid lane. The bubble goes out. Is Xiaohu going to be caught? He times it perfectly. Xiaohu's taken some big damage here. He's holding on to the charm. Xie hasn't tossed it. There he goes. Xie gets a revenge kill onto Xiaohu.
And this is what I was talking about, the reach of Echo onto these ganks, throwing out his E, I believe it's the ES.
Yes.
Throwing out the E, making sure that he gets in range of his W to proc the stun, because once he walks into it, not only does he get a shield, but it immediately stuns the target, and allowing Xie to gap close effectively, follow up with Chain CC, and murder someone. Yeah,
really solid play out of Spirit, and just like that, he's evened things up. MLXG catches some farm in the mid lane, and Spirit clears away his Gromp camp. Says, Gragas, you're big enough, you don't need these things.
Well, obviously he's able to immediately translate his power into an invade as he's looking for his E over the wall here for a sneaky gank path.
Yeah,
because they had just won in the mid lane.
He's going to have to be really careful here because that is a very low range on that. Decides to drop it out. Could be looking for the dive. Hook comes out, but whoosh walks away. And yeah, there was the range coming into effect right there.
That was really beautifully positioned by Spirit, but an even better lantern from Lei to pull whoosh to safety.
Yeah, and right now RNG just about a little ahead of World Elite. Minor gold lead as we can see Sky doing rather well in the top lane, and MLXG pretty well in the jungle as he does have more camps cleared. Could be seeing a potential dive as 3 members roam up. Yeah, MLXG staggers the wave out. Aluka on the troll pole isn't going to survive for very long. He's trying to stall out the wave here, but he's taking so much damage. Jumps and turns onto Xiaohu now, but Sky gets onto him. Xiaohu with another kill.
And how the tables have turned. Look at the deep ward. So we just saw the gank into the top lane. So now my question is, what is the response from WE? They have a numbers advantage on the bottom side of the map. They're not going to commit to the dragon, but they have placed multiple deep wards, which is what RNG did to WE the last time around. But now it's a question, what will WE do with this information?
So far, we aren't seeing any pressure from MLXG as he goes to clear out his own jungle after stealing away the Direwolf camp from RNG. And Spirit is slowly ramping that Echo up more and more. Things seem to be slowing down just a bit as we've got double recall from the top lane. Looks like it's Challenging Smite versus Challenging Smite. Equivalent combat stats. Actually, I can't say that because Hecarim gains damage from his movement speed.
He's got his boots.
He does. When Hecarim buys boots, does he buy 2 pairs?
4.
So he has 8 boots.
I see what you did there. I want to talk about...
What does he do with his extra boots? He sticks 2 on his hands and the other 2 on the ends of his glaive.
Oh, that's right. He does have enough limbs.
Oh, very fun. Yeah, so Sky just hit level 6. Aluka also hits level 6 as well. But there's something you want to talk about. Yeah,
it's the item, or not item, CS discrepancies that are developing in the mid and the top lane. And the one that I really want to talk about is the top lane, because this is just a primary issue that's been reoccurring with Aluka, putting him on these 1v1 dual-style champions, Aurelia, Fizz, even Rumble to some extent. He just falls behind naturally in his lane. Of course, he got dove, but eating up resources, Spirit decided to just let him get dove that time as opposed to trying to 2v4 in the top lane.
Yeah, Xie was looking for a roam as well. He cleared out the mid and even shoved for a bit, but didn't decide to help out.
This has been an undoing to WE. The fact that Aluka just is an easy target for teams to exploit, especially on a very high impact and very important pick like the Center Hulk Fizz in the LPL meta right now, and fallen behind 20 CS there. Yeah. Close to 30.
Pretty big number opening up, and on the mid lane, Xie seems to be making up for that deficit. And this is something we talked a little bit about in Champions League. Xie has a lot more survivability on that Ahri, and yes, he is an assassin, but he's not often able to translate that into actual assassinations.
Not big on the whole roam thing. It's more about if Xie can just brute force his lane down, he'll continue to do that. Ahri is, of course, a big signature and comfort pick for him, so good to see him kind of back on his roots, but we'll see if he's able to translate this CS discrepancy and this lead into the map and possibly into a victory for WE.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Spirit, despite using a lot of mana himself, is going to hand that blue over to Xie. He knows, you know what, you're doing really well. Why don't we keep you doing well and put some pressure onto that? So just like that, Spirit clears that out, looks to go for an invade, but MLXG isn't there. He's in the top lane. He finds Aluka. Lots of damage coming across, but Aluka is bursted down. He doesn't have flash. He does dodge the barrel, but the onslaught of shadows finds him. Sky with a kill.
And again, Aluka, just an easy primary target to pick up. No response from WE.
Potential invade from Spirit not paying off as there was no red buff to be taken, while RNG continue to put pressure down on the bottom. They've got deep wards now to watch for any sort of pressure.
Every single bush.
Yeah, just to make sure we didn't see him in that one, we can watch him in every other bush. Spirit clears out his red buff. He's looking for level 6 so we can start getting some effective dives across, but he's going to be just a little bit late as it looks like this wave is going to be staggered out by WE. And Lay picking up some more souls. We're now 9.5 minutes into the game. This game hasn't exploded as much as the other one have, but RNG once again with a minor advantage over WE.
So another rotation of the buffs is coming up, so we will see those buffs handed off into the mid laners. Should be happening right about now for Xiaohu. The thing is now that Xiaohu has rotated over to the blue buff, WE should see, because they had vision when Lulu left the lane, and know where MLXG is giving this buff over. I expect that MLXG will rotate and to try to make something happen to the bottom lane, just because with so many wards positioned around the Dragon Pit, RNG want to make the most out of the gold that they've expended. So one of the wards just died over in the bottom WE red jungle, but you effectively have, 4 or 5 wards down there. That's a sizable chunk of gold. And if you don't do anything, if you don't pick up a dragon, if you don't pick up a kill off of any of that vision, you're putting yourself at a vision deficit almost.
We haven't seen anything taken from RNG just yet. Now, Dragon is available. There are wards in front of the pit for WE. Scuttlecrab has just respawned, and we can see Lei with the respawn opting for a Sightstone first. And it's 3 Sightstones, Spirit, Conan, and Lei looking for a lot of vision. Here's Xie actually looking for a roam, but he might walk right on top of a ward. No, he could be looking for a pick on the
He's trying to
Xiaohu.
place a deep ward, but he doesn't see where his mid laner is.
Yeah, there he goes. Sees sees MLXG. Meanwhile, a dive on the bottom as the wave gets pushed under the turret. Sky actually teleports in. He's just got his Onslaught of Shadows. Conan's caught. He could go down here. The Onslaught of Shadows finds Mystic and Conan, but WE are grouped up so tightly. So much AoE damage is coming across. A great knockup finds Xiaohu, but they're just trading back and forth. It's AoE on top of AoE. This is such a tight corridor. And so far, it looks like WE are coming out on top. They pick up 4 kills. Wu Xin, the sole survivor, is running for his life. Flash comes out for Spirit to chase him. He wants this kill. He gets the slow. Spell Shield blocks 1 rotation of the damage. Are they going to look for the dive here? Conan is going in there. They're going to have to let it go. But 4 kills for 2 in favor of WE.
They mismanaged the tower aggro on the very back of that fight, but this is what WE needed. They needed a big fight like that, but it doesn't translate into anything. It's not like it gives them a tower, it gives them a dragon. They lose both teleports in that engagement. Fantastic job for Aluka finally getting to his team on time, but it doesn't open up into a larger gap. And if we think about the differences between the 2 sets already, so yeah, this is very promising. WE just technically won a team fight, but when RNG won team fights last game, it exploded into dragons, towers, barons, and so much more for them.
We haven't seen any big expansions off of this early advantage that WE have so far. In fact, they have just evened things up once again. If they can find another 5v5 in a grouped up corridor, that would be fantastic. But they just were not able to take too much off the backside of this, as Spirit with the overextension on the dive wasn't able to take the dragon, but RNG rush onto the dragon as it respawns, while WE look to set up a dive in the top lane. They're going to be sacking that thing for free.
WE won the team fight, and RNG gets the dragon.
Funny how that works out now.
They still have the gold lead as well.
Yeah, even how Xiaohu is positioning himself on the lane, keeping Xie on the far side away from it just by shoving forward. RNG, once again, looking for those atypical deep wards. Not really answered too much by WE as they're looking to put pressure onto Sky, but they aren't able to take too much to answer for it.
I'm still going to criticize RNG here when, again, they have this habit of completely lighting up every single bush on this bottom side of the map, especially as they then answer and take the tower, knowing that they can do that, be that far forward, because they don't see anyone in that jungle with every single ward. But it's so important that, again, when you expend that much gold to ward that many areas, it has to translate into something. You need to get a tower because you know that you're safe to push. You need to get a pick because you see someone on the wards, and you need to take a dragon because you know that the jungler's not on that side of the map. They didn't do it the first time. They somehow managed to sneak away from the dragon just because WE kind of misused their pressure on the map, winning a team fight and then not going straight towards the objective with the kill gold that they had gotten. But hold on, here comes the flank.
Yeah, the stun isn't going to land for Spirit. Instead, he gets into the fight before everyone else does, dodges the belly boop, but doesn't take enough damage or deal enough damage for it to turn into a full fight. And despite all 10 members grouping up in the mid lane, they back away.
A lot of key ultimates used right there. The On the Hunt. Yep, the On the Hunt and the box. So it's pretty big for their engage.
Yeah.
Did you call it the belly boop?
The belly boop, the body slam.
The belly bop?
Belly bop, belly boop. Didn't hit. MLXG does still have the explosive cask, and Sky has his Onslaught of Shadows. So they could look for a temporary re-engage, but WE decide to back away.
Big difference is that both top laners don't have teleport available, however, and Hecarim is much more mobile, as well as, wow, that CS difference.
Yeah, that's a pretty big number for Hecarim. He's up 43 CS right now. 42, and now back up to 43. Aluka is going to catch some of this farm, but he is up on levels, he's up in CS, he's up in overall gold. Yeah, he's up by 1,000 gold from that CS. That's pretty scary.
Up, up, up.
Oh, elsewhere, it's even for everyone else. So right now, the big advantage for RNG is on Sky in that top lane. He's accounting single-handedly for their 1,000 gold ahead of WE. Well, and the turret. But that's interesting. Without that turret, though, that means WE are ahead in the bot and mid lane.
You do have a CS discrepancy as well into that mid lane, like you said, the 127 to 90 of Lulu. Obviously, Xie a very big point, and he's actually looking for a roam right now. So we asked ourselves, was Xie going to be able to translate his advantage that he got into the mid lane into the rest of the map? And even though he's not finding a successful gank here, just the mere fact that Ahri has walked out of vision of Xiaohu immediately prompts Wushin to back off the tower in case Ahri looks for a flank.
Yeah, Mystic only attacked that turret once, and the minion wave was the one that did all of the damage. Not enough clear from Wushin, as like you mentioned, they didn't want to chance the fact that Xie might roam. Xie is doing reasonably well. He opted for the Fiendish Codex and now has a needlessly large rod. He's got CDR, he's got damage. We'll have to see what he decides to go for with this recall. He goes for the Luden's Echo first, so it just might be that we see Xie assassinating some people.
I actually really like this build in Ahri. She doesn't need any sort of core itemization like a Cassiopeia will with the Tier or like Victor will with his Hex core and things like that. She can just go straight into the Luden's Echo. It's obviously going to give her massive amounts of AP, help out her wave clear, and because she's more of a sustain mage rather than, even though she takes, it's kind of weird because she is technically an assassin, she has the ability to 100 to 0 someone if she catches them. But just multiple rotations through her spells, multiple
Luden's Echo procs?
Thank you. I was like, Luden echoes, Luda. I can speak sometimes.
Yeah, there's a bit of a rotation out of WE. With that Luden's Echo finished, Xie feels safe enough to hold his own on the bottom side of the map, while Mystic and Conan swing up to the mid to try to put some pressure onto Xiaohu. However, it is immediately answered by the rest of RNG. They're going to send Wushin to the top lane, and Sky's going with him.
I would love it if they rotated Xie down to the bottom side just because he is very mobile on that Ahri and he has tons of dual potential on pretty much every single member, and just maintain the 2v2 in the mid lane to siege that tower with Wushin's passive burn, and just have Xie almost as like a split pusher, like a Zed, but on Ahri.
Yeah, seems like that's what we're seeing right now. As he is down on the bottom side of the map. RNG see him down there. Some pings go forward for Xie to continue shoving, but RNG answer by shoving top. That CS discrepancy opens it to an aggression discrepancy, and now opens into a turret discrepancy as Wushin takes that top tier 1.
This is a little bit tricky, although Sky is backing to respond to Xie. I was going to say there's a lot more pushing potential with Sivir doing some damage on the tower versus the pushing Ahri, but Spirit runs over to join him. Yeah,
they're doing some serious damage to the turret. It's brought down to about half health. Sky is finally here. Probably not going to be able to go 1v2, but he is able to clear the wave enough. And, ooh, a good death corner being set up by Mystic and Conan.
But caught out.
Spot up by a ward, though.
By a deep ward.
Yeah.
Oh, RNG.
That's a defensive ward. RNG just seem to have a sixth sense for where they want to put wards this game.
They have great vision control.
They certainly do. Double sight stone across, keeping them very well informed as to WE's movements around the map. And WE have actually opened up to a gold. Nope, that's a disadvantage.
We tried, WE.
I tried for it, but I didn't quite find it. That single turret RNG have bring them 1,000 gold ahead. Conan sweeps and doesn't find the ward 2 feet from him.
The big thing is that the dragon is spawning. Hold on. Nope. The big thing is that the dragon is spawning in 2 seconds, and the thing that I want to touch on and what's very important for this 5v5 that's surely going to happen is that this is when WE thrive, when they have just a free-for-all of mobility-based champions. It's not about, you know, protecting the AD carry or peeling or making sure that we synergize all of our cooldowns. It's just about doing damage on every single member. Yeah, 5-man group from RNG in the mid lane is letting Aluka get some really solid free damage onto the top tier 1. But RNG have got control over the mid lane. They're going to have control over the dragon now as they walk forward as a group. They're going to start it. The turret goes down. We'll see if Aluka teleports in. He's doing more and more damage to that lane. RNG are set up to follow on the far side. MLXG finds GA on the backside. The stun comes out from Spirit. He only finds Lei. He goes solo and is forced to back out immediately. Aluka's in the front lines now. As he did teleport to join the fight, he's trading with Sky, who gets a huge onslaught of shadows, but nobody has died yet. Finally, one member goes down, now 3, as it's just AoE damage for RNG, cleaning it up. Aluka going 1v3 with the CC. Oh, a great dodge from Zhao, who predicts the pull. And it's a quick 4 kills for RNG. And that effectively was a microcosm of both of these teams. So they come out even, and this is just one of the problems with WE. They aren't there cohesively as a unit for these team fights. It was an even game. They approached a 5v5. didn't follow up on the resources, didn't chain their CC, didn't focus the same targets, and the superior team fighting team comes out on top, and it's RNG.
Yeah, RNG doing really well with that fight. Sky holding onto his ultimate for such a long time, just scattered WE like a bunch of billiard balls, and Xie, despite being caught out early on, was still able to get some pretty solid damage. And just like this, we're 20 minutes into the game. RNG are now 1,500 gold ahead after that last team fight, and here's the breakdown.
So Spirit, what he's trying to do, obviously to lock up, the E isn't close enough to get the stun, but then it's just a scattered, chaotic mess. But look at how RNG are all grouped up, covering their flanks, dodging back together. Luca gets caught off on the side. He's not doing any damage right now, literally just running around, not even hitting anyone. Jumps back in the very end, tries to trade 1-for-1 for Xiaohu, but a nice heal saves his life.
Yeah, Wu Xin was actually untouched throughout that entire fight. I think at most he was brought down to like 80% of his health through a single stray auto attack that hit him. And oh no, Xie! There you go.
He's got it.
He clears out his own blue buff. Luckily for him, the Cinder Hulk does not in fact kill camps. It only brings them to 1 health. Does not kill buffs. Brings them to 1 health. Now Luca back in the top lane. You can see that discrepancy pretty widely now as Xie is just doing so much damage, not even afraid to bully it out. As a fight breaks out in the mid lane, RNG looks like they want to tango with WE once again, but WE decide they want no part of this. Teleport comes in from Sky as he finds Xie and destroys him. Whoosh and Xiaohu and Sky are just doing some incredible damage here, and then they immediately turn for the Baron.
Have to be very careful. Spirit's still up and available, so this is technically a smite war should Spirit get into position. That said, Gragas does have the higher level smite.
We'll see if it pays off. The AoE field comes out. Parallel Convergence doesn't yield any results. It just slows them, so they take some more damage from the Baron, but the Baron is secured nonetheless. RNG take it.
And what's most important, again, we talked about WE. When they win team fights, when they win picks, it doesn't mean anything because it doesn't translate to anything. What just happens? RNG won 2 team fights, or technically a team fight, and then a pick back-to-back. First thing they grab is the Dragon. Second thing, the Baron.
Yeah, solid pickups from RNG. Now they're up 2 Dragons, a Baron, and now 6,000 gold. Excuse me, that's 5.2. And just like that, RNG have blown this game right open. They were keeping pace with WE, just going for a light casual stroll, but WE were huffing and puffing, saying, this is the best we've got, this is what we can do. And RNG have said, really? I've still got a 5th gear.
WE thrive in skirmishes, not only with their composition and their makeup, because they have a lot of high mobility skirmish-based champions, but just themselves as players. They have high mechanical skillings. They're really good at pressing their buttons, but as a team, they just can't cover their flanks, stay together as a unit, make sure that they're prioritizing the same targets.
Yeah, speaking of flanks, Aluka gets caught out once again. He's 1-5-5 right now, not having the best game as RNG are putting pressure where pressure is most deserved.
The team has left Aluka out to dry.
Yeah.
And RNG have recognized that he's a very easy pickup and just consistently picking on him.
Yeah.
Pick translates into a tower, might translate into more.
Yeah, WE don't even try to defend that turret as they know that they can't group up. Spirit looks for the AoE. Parallel Convergence finds only Lei. They get some good damage across, but they can't quite bring him low. Oh man, some big damage from Wu Xin. Lei is still alive in the back line as Wu Xin and Xiaohu in the front are doing so much. Now that Sky has joined the fight, WE cannot take this. They dive onto Xie in the back line. He gets destroyed as MLXG does so much damage. The inhibitor turret is going to fall, but with Mystic there and significant amounts of damage, they decide they don't want to trade. Oh, come on, Sky. What are you doing? Let him go.
You're not chasing me. I'm chasing you.
Yeah.
No, okay. The thing that I want to talk about with that pick, I don't know. Have you ever seen Mulan?
Yes.
Okay, the Disney version. You know the point when Mushu is on the rocket and they go to like hit, and then they miss and he hits the mountain and he causes the avalanche?
Yes.
You remember what he says?
No.
He says, they were 3 feet in front of you. Conan completely whiffed his dredge line on the CC lock target in Lei, and he pulled Gragas into his team. That was pretty excellent.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to call it pulling a Mushu. See, now I've built up the vocabulary, so in future casts, I'm going to be like, that's a straight Mushu play.
He's pulling a Mushu right there.
It's excellent because we're in China.
Yeah, well, right now it seems like RNG are being the men right now. As swift as a coursing river, they rush to victory. And WE are fighting for survival as best they can, but now they're going to lose their last Tier 2 turret in the bottom lane.
Be a man.
Man, You're not allowed to. You can't sing it. You can't do that.
With all the strength of a great typhoon.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got the they opened up the inhibitor in the top lane. They are wildly ahead. That is a 10k gold deficit between these two teams. Now looking at this mid-tier tower, and unfortunately WE, I don't think they have a lot of answers to hold this one.
Yeah.
Although they don't have a minion wave, so.
They don't. But RNG are still so far ahead, and RNG are so far ahead. WE are trying to figure this out, but to them it's as mysterious as.
No.
Oh boy.
The dark side of the moon.
No, you can't. Oh, jeez. We set it up, and then you gotta let it go. Just let it go. Hey, another Disney reference. As this fight is no longer frozen, they're diving under the tier 2. RNG are tanking the turret. They don't even care about the damage. And right now, the tier 2 turret falls. No one has yet died from WE. There it is. The picks from Xiaohu gets yet another kill.
They're just so far ahead. They technically split their damage. They had half their team fighting all of WE, and the other half were like on the tower. And they still ended up winning the fight and getting a kill, taking the tower.
Yeah, RNG are feeling so strong about this one. They are now going to turn onto the Dragon. This is number 3 for them. We're 26 minutes into the game, and everything is going RNG's way. Looks like, yeah, they secure that third Dragon. It's now an 11,000 gold lead as they creep closer and closer to victory.
It's now a question of WE. We said that this was going to be a very important week for them. They faced 3 matches. They had a chance at 9 points, because obviously if you 2-0, you get 3 points. If you split 1-1, you get 1 point. And unfortunately...
Oh. RNG just let him take that turret.
Fortunately, they got the tower. Unfortunately,
yeah.
They have not gotten the game, unless a miracle happens repeatedly,
that was
about 5 times.
Consolation prize for WE as they get that turret, and yeah, unfortunately, Spirit wasn't able to find the pick onto Xiaohu. It does turn into a turn as RNG turn it onto WE's head. They dive into the back line. Mystic goes low. Should be able to be picked up by MLXG. And yeah, Xie actually managed to kill Xiaohu, though Mystic has now fallen. Can Xie keep himself alive here? Sky teleports into the back line without a Spirit Rush to keep himself away from that Hecarim. Xie should be going down. There it is. Sky picks it up. That's going to be the ace for RNG.
Really nice attempt from Xie right there to get into the back line. RNG kind of caught with their pants down, didn't have Sky in position to help peel for his back line. Likewise, MLXG was like, peel for the back line, I'm going deep.
Yeah.
That said, unfortunately, the gold lead speaks for itself. They're able to overcompensate for this.
Yeah, this is going to be the...
he hit it that time.
Inhibitor turret going down. Yeah, I don't think he wanted to have hit it that time as he's pulled in 1v3. Yes, those are the 3 tanks, but they're so far ahead just in raw stats that Conan is going to go down regardless. Now that the minion wave has caught up, Sky bounces the aggro, takes down the inhibitor turret. That's now 2 naked inhibitors for WE.
Lei sets up the Thunderdome. He drops the box. And then Sky and MLXG clear the sides. He's like, no, this is a support battle.
Yes, well, seems like it was picked up by MLXG. They're now up 11 kills.
They haven't broken the inhibitor line, though.
They have not.
Hope is still alive.
It is indeed in the form of those inhibitors. Now, Baron's actually up in 20 seconds, and RNG have got some untimely recalls. Wushin gets a wave building bottom while Mystic shoves up in the mid lane. Ping's now going down to the Baron pit. Looks like RNG are aware that this could be a possibility, but they're not going to take any chances. They're all on their way.
They are taking complete vision control. We'll see if they can perhaps set up a pick here. Obviously, Ahri has high pick potential, and even though they are so far behind, she has her Luden, she has her Morellos, so she's still going to be doing some decent damage. But let's kind of talk about where things really went wrong for WE and how they found themselves in the situation. Because we said, you know, their win condition is Spirit's performance, and Spirit actually had a great performance with Echo, trying to make things happen for his team. But I feel like, unfortunately, WE were even until they came into the mid game, looked for a 5v5 at the Dragon, and just fell apart to the synergy of RNG. And I say that kind of, I guess I can say it a little bit better just because this is formerly the original King lineup with Gamtee's mid laner effectively replacing Assassin.
Oh, WE shove up in the mid lane as they look for some pressure, but RNG grouped up looking to get some big damage across. It looks like this is going to be a team fight. Spirit gets a good stun on delay, but there's just no follow-up. Sky now joins the fight, and WE are scattered like a bunch of billiard balls. Once again, Mystic is dived by those stickers on the back line. Spirit gets out of the fight, but he goes right into Sky. Now Xie is forced to run away. It is another kill for Wushin as he does end up taking down Aluka. Spirit going one-on-one with Xiaohu. Doesn't land the stun as he misplaces it on the wall. Chilling Smite goes down. He makes it over. Xiaohu lands the Glitter Lance, but Spirit's going to be able to possibly make it out of this one.
Run, Spirit, run!
Yeah, he's running as fast as he can, but the rest of his base is being torn to shreds in the meanwhile. One inhibitor goes down. The second one sure to follow. And
the story of this game was the story of that team fight. I mean, you were probably focused on the primary action of everything exploding on your screen, but Aluka on his Fizz stood for 5 seconds of that team fight, not doing anything. He was waiting for Wushin to come into targetable distance, and unfortunately wasn't assisting with his teams. He immediately jumped on Sivir as soon as he saw her. Sivir turned around and punched him in the face.
Yeah, and just like that, it's now 25-9 in favor of RNG. The Baron, second Baron, is secured by RNG. Empowered Recall gets them all out before WE can respond, and with those inhibitors down, WE are securely on the defensive.
It's now about RNG flooding the base, making sure that they apply their Baron on as many lanes as possible. Possibly look for the easy objective in that last pick of the bottom inhibitor, but I mean, really, they could just walk this one down the mid lane.
Yeah, and that seems like that's exactly what they're doing. Wushin and Sky dashing forward, escorting the minion wave. And nope, they decide they want to go for that last inhibitor turret as well.
It really speaks to the fact that they're 20k gold up and they've needed 2 Barons to close out this game. To kind of the respect that they're giving to WE or even the uncertainty and the testing of the late game macro shot calling. And I say late game even though it's only 31 minutes, but this game got spiraled again, 31 minutes, 2 Barons.
Yeah, RNG doing a very good job. As we mentioned before, that their weaknesses have been their late game macro shot calling.
It's been good. Like there's no big holes in it. They haven't been as effective with their momentum, although we're looking at the dive right now.
Yeah, the dive happens. WE trying to put up a final defense, but they just don't have enough. Double kill picked up by Sky. It's not going to be a triple as Xiaohu steals that away while Spirit and Aluka run as far as they can under the fountain. Bit of a dive coming out from Sky. He doesn't take any sort of fountain damage. That last inhibitor is going to be cleaned up, and RNG play textbook, take down all 3 inhibitors, and they're going to be getting on the Nexus.
I think that's the best way to word it, yes, textbook. It was a very clinical, textbook, clean series from them, and a little bit cautious in the second game as far as how much power they had and how crazy they could go for, but excellently played by RNG, and just really unfortunate for WE to see them fall again this far behind.
Yeah, they're 0-2 with this series. That's going to put them at 3-13 for their final score for today, at least. And RNG, I want to continue talking about that because we talked about some of their macro shot calling, the fact that they play well when they're ahead, not so much when they're even or behind.
Talented, but inconsistent.
Yes, and this is a great step in the right direction for them.
I mean, that said, this was against the second to last placed team.
They did play well. They kept it clean. They respected WE. They played it out. They said, you know what, we're not going to do anything silly, take any ridiculous dives, except for some of the ridiculous dives. But they paid off.
Yeah, it was definitely a